name's Ric Wood. I'm the owner of Ric Wood Motorsport, and we kind of build many cars, mainly Nissans and Capris. Backstory, started left home when I was 15, got myself a job in a garage, a Jag garage. Learnt the trade working on Jaguars. Old Jaguars, because I'm old. It was in the middle of a recession. I lost my job, set up on my own. Suddenly realised I specialise in Capris, started needing more specialised stuff, so I've got my own rolling road and couldn't rely on other people. So ended up being, I suppose, like a equipment junkie. I just get more and more equipment, but then the more stuff you get, the more you need, the more you can do, the more you don't have to farm out. And here I am now. Two kind of parts to the business. CNC heads, so yes, we develop heads mainly for historic cars because that's where the money is and that's where the development is. Anything from drag cars to minis to Rovers to Chevys. So that's kind of where we're at. Building cars, Capris, Skylines, mainly to order. You know, I had a dream of doing a Skyline, took 6 months, but that's 6 months of 28 people all putting the bit in. It's like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang if you ever watched the film, you know. A man goes in a shed and comes out with something that's quite special. When I first did a GA Capri, everyone thought I was mad. Probably about 12 years ago. I've made probably 15 of them now. I was thinking, what's the next generation? I'd always, from afar, looked at these. It's kind of not my generation, but I kind of liked them, but I respected them massively. So I thought, I'll do something that no one's done. And the task isn't easy. And I discovered why people hadn't done them. I knew Fred Gibson and Alan Heafy from my Holden. I'd rung Alan Heafy up, and he just thought I was a mad Englishman with a dream of building one of these. And I said, you know, I'm going to do one. Could you sell me some uprights and this, that and the other? He said, oh, maybe in 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm building it now. I need some help now. So he said, unfortunately, I can't help you. I literally got a load of Japanese books, certain Japanese books, and quite a few nice people in Australia had taken some really good photos of underneath and the back of the cars so you could work out the roll centers. When you know a size of a lamp, you can scale it up. So essentially, we built this in a computer, which sounds kind of easy, but it ain't, because then you've got to turn that into reality. And the other thing we had to do is do it to the papers, because many people build cars, and if they haven't got FIA papers, the car's not worth anything and you can't race it in the right places. So they were the kind of starting points. I had to do an FIA car, which isn't cams. So I studied both. We worked out that the Australians were actually quite clever. The intercooler setup was better, but we couldn't use it because it wasn't FIA. So essentially this is the Japanese FIA car, but with Australian roll centres and Australian hub sizes. It's a love child, but ultimately I suppose it's the ultimate, because I've got papers, it's got better roll centres, and then slightly more modern technology in the engine. To be honest, I built the car. At some point you've got to take it on a maiden voyage. So my friend Jake was racing at Alton Park, which is say 25 miles from the workshop. I drove it to Alton Park, I parked it up, went to see my mate, I came back. You've never seen so many people around a car. To be honest, it was probably more the fact that when I built it and I parked it up in a racing community that it was swamped, and I thought, wow, I didn't realise. I keep myself to myself. The first probably year or so, we had loads of failures on gearboxes. After that, it's been tiny tweaks. The DNA of the car is that good. Really struggled to ruin this car. If you've followed the DNA and you've copied that DNA really well, it's so good. When I first did it, I respected it and I've fallen in love with it. You realise how, even now, 30, 35 years later, it's kicking asses of modern cars, which is amazing because you're able to do that with old technology, without ABS, with a H-pattern gearbox, with no aero. They had it right. Like I say, when you put it in CAD, all the effort to get the unsprung weight, to get the pickup points at the back, to design what they did and understand the centre of the mass here in the car and understand where all the power's coming to the centre of the mass and the balance of the car. They were in front of everywhere. You look at a modern car, where the centre of mass is, like one of these, and you look at other cars and you put them in CAD and look where the centre of mass is, and you can soon tell the people that know and the people that don't know. With the engine, I already had done loads of heads. So I was okay on airflow, but cams, general compression ratios, I was a total virgin, I didn't know. So I thought I'll talk to the guys that I sell the heads to, the experts, and they've all gone a certain direction, but it's probably thinking of 20 years ago. The first engine we did 650 horsepower, stuck with standard bore stroke, so nothing big. We got straight where Gibson and everyone else was. I had a rethink, because I just took their advice on cams, and I was just lazy because I did it in such a short period. I thought I'd cut some corners, but I had to readdress those corners. I think some of the problem was they all run single turbos. It's like, it's cheating, you know, we're not allowed to do that. The organisers, because they could see that the history said it's going to come and dominate, it made me promise that I wouldn't run any more than 1.3 bar boost. To do that, we ended up basically back to basics. So we knew the flow area of the head, we knew the dynamics of the engine, designed the cams for it, compression ratio, built like 100 engines in a computer, which if you got the data right, it's good. And then we started again. It just kind of came alive. It's quite a good engine to start with. Just put some modern thinking in. Stock crank, nice flywheel, triple plate clutch, ATI balancer. We tried all the pistons in the world because we're trying to run higher and higher compression, and all the pistons are just collapsing. So we ended up designing our own pistons and doing them billet, boxed. Fixed the problem. So now we're at over 10.5 to 1 compression. Everyone's like, you must be mad. No, I'm not mad. Mercedes aren't mad. Audis aren't mad. Next thing was really design of the cams. The head flow is straightforward. You need a certain amount of flow. Valve control, massive. Oil flow to the head, but we're not on a dry sump. And also the way the oil gets back down. When you looked at like all the Nismo stuff, quite clever. So we used a lot of that thinking. Went away from the aftermarket and back to Nissan's design. Same with the cams, we just started again with them. Loads of lift, like unheard of lift. Everyone said, what you doing? Cuckoo. It's more than 12.5. Loads of lift, very little duration. Very little duration because we don't want it going out, you know, the valve's open, we need them shut. As long as you've got the valve control. To do that, I invented a problem because if anyone knows at that kind of lift, then your buckets are being, when they got within like a millimetre of the oil hole, it was squirting. And that might be some people's problems, but they haven't worked it out. So all I did, I changed the base circle, fixed it, and yeah, so there we are. Inlet manifold stock, just a couple of tweaks on it. Standard throttle bodies, they're big enough. They're big enough for 1,000 horsepower. Why would you go bigger and lose gas speed? Interestingly, for this, I use HKS exhaust housings, turbos like an FIA spec turbo, so they're slightly bigger. For Goodwood, we do use different like billet impellers, just because we can. You know, this is a turbo change. But what I thought, now with that honed with that car and the other cars we've built, and we've been using stock exhaust manifolds as well, but just ported. And I don't know what they were made out of those things, but I can believe that no one ports them because they are. It's made out of such special. It's kryptonite. It's something that's unmachinable. It's unbelievably tough, especially when it's probably because it's been heat cycled a million times. But anyway, we took the investment cast ones off because I decided, like for this one, I'd got a feeling that we're just losing a bit of gas speed, and it turns out we were correct. So I've gone to stock manifolds, which everyone will say is mad, ported them. But when I was looking at them, the HKS ones, you've got 3 flowing in, just straight in. But when you look at these, they kind of come in and then into one. So say the HKS ones, the middle one's probably fantastic, and these are kind of shooting at an angle. Whenever you want to try and turn air, you know, so it's shooting into the turbo, it straightened it up by the time it got in there. It's coming in probably 1,000 RPM better. I just try it, you know, like sometimes, and the maths tells you one thing, you know, like if it's a certain size, it's like fluid dynamics, you know, and like maths doesn't lie. There's certain things on it that we've kind of found power with, but then you've got to control it. So then I suppose if we jump onto the electronics, we're on M-Tron ECU. We decided to go with that because like the Motec and many others, top level ECUs, by the time you've put your add-ons, they get silly expensive. M-Tron, we're really happy with it because it's done everything we wanted. It's got all the control. The knock control's good. You know, it's all about on that kind of compression, knock control. We control the transfer box off it. We do funky things as it comes into braking. You know, we're putting power to the front. There's loads you can do with it. It stabilises it. You know, it stabilises it in the braking zones. It's something we've tried and played with. Initially, we kind of set all the braking up, not with that. You know, so we've got the percentage of the braking, you know, and the temperatures in the brakes, pretty good. So we got the balance of it, and then, but we found advantages. You know, when the car's, you know, pitching, because it's not in the perfect world. You know, it's not on a brake tester in a straight line. You know, we're not, you know, doing anything. The thing's cocked, isn't it? So it's just stabilised it. All AP racing, as per the, you know, for the papers. We've worked a bit on the ducting, but it is a heavy car. You know, like you've got a lot, you know, holy shit, it goes fast in a straight line. And this car and the other cars, just in the normal ones, do 666 at the wheels at 1.3 bar. And then this one, because we've got bigger housings on it, we run this at 2 bar, and it does about 1,020, not at the wheels, at the flower wheel, about 900 at the wheels. We're not trying to push any more than that because, well, we've not needed to, you know, and everyone said we couldn't do that on twin turbos, size like that, but it's doing it, you know, but it's compression, it's everything. And cam design, you know, you could have the best engine in the world, put a crap cam design in it, you know, I'm sure you've done it, many people have done it. If you kind of reverse it and know the flow area of the head and know what you're trying to achieve, you can design the cam around that, and that's kind of what you need to do. You can do it by trial and error, but an engine is an engine. So all I've done with this, with the Zac Speed Capris and things like that, those things, same with this, we're lifting heads, we're cracking blocks. We know we must be braking power because when you brake something, it's braking for a reason. You know, you're trying to pull the thing apart. So it's learning how to fix those problems. So we know we're making the power because we're braking the things that we should brake. So if someone said to you, oh, yeah, I'm making 1,000 horsepower, I've never broken a block, and I've never done this and never done that, you know they're talking rubbish. The front diffs, quite often we run an open diff, which everyone will, you know. The advantage with an LSD in the front, a plated one, very slow corners, tight, maybe a little bit better. But for most circuits, waste of time, absolute waste of time. The rear diff, we've got geeking in most of them, like a road car. For this car, and I wanted to do it, we've done a 4.625, so the rears are available. The fronts, you couldn't do it, so I had them made. Stop back shafts, you know, it's quite hard to break them. Sometimes the standard stuff is so strong, you know, and really good material. This one we're on Intracts, which are made for especially with anti-roll control, so we can run slightly softer roll bars. Like I say, when you watch the car, it's very pitchy, but we want that like because I've raced V8 supercars in England, you know, they're really soft. You know, I've got one of the last before they went to the car of the future, you know, with a proper chassis, and you know, that thing, you know, rides curbs, and I'd kind of gone the same way with this. So it's really quite soft, rides curbs. That's how you go around a corner. You can ride a curb. It absorbs everything, doesn't upset the car, and you know, you're on the gas where everyone else is getting all upset. Soft is good. Yeah, the Swan necks are T45, but my new ones, I've done them in 7000 series aluminium, which is kind of got a better tensile strength than that. And it's because we've done it in CAD, we're really restricted on lock on these, and we've got a bit more lock because we've been able to do it. You know, they're beauty. When you see them, absolutely lovely piece of engineering. That one was the second one we built, and I wanted to build this one because this was the Calsonic car, but I secretly was in love with that colour scheme. But the problem is, each one I've built, and we've done 6 now, on our 7th, each one I do, I kind of fall in love with it. You know, like it's like, you know, like a new girlfriend or something. You know, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So, and then you kind of get used to it after a while. But then I kind of keep on coming back to fall in love with this one. But that one's our kind of backup car. I kind of use this as my braking proofing car, because what I wouldn't want to do is give a customer a car that I haven't, you know, think, oh, that's not going to work. I know that, you know, everything, we'll try and break it on this. If I can't break it, you fix it, and then you know a level that you're going to survive at. Many pounds, but not that expensive. I mean, they are, the other problem is the cars are becoming more expensive. This one I bought, it was kind of a track day car, had a cage in it, and then, holy shit, I need to buy some alley wings, I need an alley bonnet, I need proper doors, you know, like, so now it's worth buying like all the purists that are going to stab me, because I buy a really nice car that's not got rust, it's not had cancer. You don't know what that is anyway, do you? So, well,
every GD had that.
Well,
at least a little bit.
So I'll spend quite a bit more on a really nice car, because then, you know, I'm not spending 500 quid on a windscreen seal, things like that. Ultimately, about 200k for a car, which is a lot of money, but when you see the other cars you're buying for that kind of money, and we've been able to kind of make it for that kind of money. I mean, this one probably cost me 400k, maybe more, to build, and well, more than that to do and develop. But you know, like when we make stuff, we'll make 10 breather tanks, you know, so literally everything's on the shelf. Like the Capris, everyone thought I'd mad when I built the first one, and then suddenly they go and do okay, they race around Europe, they go and win. I've kind of tapped into or excited a generation that love these cars, and like I say, this was kind of after me, you know, the PlayStation generation. So what's a PlayStation? I've never played on one in my life, so I wouldn't know what one of these is. But then, like I say, you kind of fall in love with them, and you respect. Like initially, I just respected them, but just to fall in love with them. Like loads of people drag race them, but it ain't one of these, is it? This is designed for going around corners, and I think I wouldn't want to do it a disjustice by putting up a drag strip, because everything's going to launch quicker than this. You know, probably its second race it won, but it won with a standard gearbox. Can you imagine an RS 500? Oh, we'll just put a standard gearbox in it. It'd just die, wouldn't it? So it won for the first 2 years. It would kill the gearbox in the practice. We're now experts at changing gearboxes at this height, which is impossible, and then it'd quite often win the race with the stock box. I got invited with it because really I think the guys that do the invites, officially it's not an original car, but I think he's probably of the age that just mega fan of the car. We got invited, it won its class, and then got invited back. Jake ran it again last year and went even better, so it's won its class every time, and yeah, it's got quicker every time. This weekend, if we get top 10, I think we've done really good. But you've seen the cars that are there, modern cars, old car, old technology, no traction control, no ABS, stick shift. What's it, you know, like some of the drivers, they'll get in it and go, what's this for? But follow me around a circuit, you won't catch me.
Hi, I'm Jake Hill and I'm the driver for the British Touring Car Championship in BMW car number 24, and I'm also the driver for the Calsonic Ric Wood Skyline here at the Goodwood Festival of Speed 2024. So I've done a bit of Porsche Carrera Cup, and I've been in touring cars now for 8 years, driven for various different teams, Honda, Ford, and now I've settled with BMW for the last 3 years, and I'm leading the British Touring Car Championship. So one of my long-term mechanics, who I've known for years, Mark, he was one of the builders of the Calsonic Skyline for Ric. He no longer works for Ric, but at the time he was. And this was in 2019. And I heard that Ric was building a Calsonic Replica car. I had my road going R32 already, and it was a case of, I've got to see it, you know. I mean, there's no Group A cars in the UK at the time. The Koizeki car now is here, and we race against it, the real one, the green one. It was at the Silverstone Classic, I think, in 2019, and that was the first place that I'd seen him run the car. And I literally chased after it back to the paddock after he'd done qualifying, and saw Mark, and I was like, Mark, you're running it, like, can I sit in it, can I have a look round it? He's like, yeah, of course, and Ric was like, yeah, jump in it. Didn't have a clue Ric, you know, I knew of Ric, but I'd never met him or anything. Anyway, a few weeks later, Ric rings me up, do you want to drive it at the Gold Cup? And I was like, of course I do, you know, that was such a stupid question. So yeah, I got the chance to drive it from Ric because he wanted someone to share with him, and the usual driver for him at the time couldn't do it, so that's how it all came about. And then he said, look, you know, you're really good with the car, you're quick obviously, you look after it and you bring it home and we get the job done, so do you want to do some more? And then I've driven some of his Capris, and obviously I'm still in his Skyline. Yeah, I just love cars, like full stop, you know, I absolutely love cars. But for me, Nissan and the Skyline brand specifically, you know, 32, 3 and 4, I just love them to bits. It's my dream touring car. Ever since I saw the Group A car, you know, from when I was little, you know, just on TV or whatever, YouTube, whatever it might have been, I fell in love straight away, you know, and genuinely a massive fan, you know, just through and through. I know so much about the Group A era, and obviously, yes, this isn't the real car, but in the UK, it's as close as we're going to get, you know, unless you go to Japan and you see the real one. But I just love it, and I had the chance to own one 8 years ago, and I've still got it, and it's slowly turning into a Group A car. At some point, I'm going to go to Ric, just have it, and turn it into one. You know, at some point it will get to that. But for now, yeah, I'm a massive Skyline fan. You know, I've driven so many GTRs now, all sorts, 32, 3, 4. And also a lot of current GTRs, you know, just the normal Nissan GTR. I've driven, I think my count's up to like 56 of those. I did a load of development for Lichfield, you know, a big tuner here in the UK. So yeah, just a massive fan, mate, love it. That's the coolest thing, is it just spanking everything else, you know. This is in the touring car class because obviously it is a Japanese touring car. Nothing gets close. GDR is king. Ultimately, what we're seeing at the festival now is a lot of the electric generation coming through. But they're not just electric cars. These things are like 1,500 horsepower, you know, and they're just ridiculous. You can't beat them. No matter how good an RB is, you know, we can't quite get there. So, at least not for a touring car. So it's becoming more difficult, but like for instance, yesterday we were 10th in qualifying. We're about to go and do the final shootout. I might have hurt second gear, so I don't have that off the line. So I'm not expecting my time to be great, to be honest, but we're going to give it some big sends.
Like an expectant mother. I can't, it's more nerve when you're in the car. It's not as nerve-wracking because you're in it, you know what it's like, you're in the, when yeah, like waiting for, yeah, can't even go there. That's why I'm walking in circles and up and down, but love it.
Whoa.
mate. Reset it well hard. It was good. P6, you know, I'm so pleased. That equals our best we've ever done here. And considering we had no second gear, it's pretty good. But,
mate, me and Rick are talking about what engine to put in this next year. What do you reckon?
mate, it stays an RB. We just make it better.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Sixth
good.
place is so good, dude.
Thanks, man. Great to have you here.
We had to come up here. It was so a big moment for me too, mate.
Mate, for all of us, thanks for coming. And thank you everyone for watching. Legends. If there's a GTR festival in the UK, man, book me out, I'm coming, you know, I cannot wait. But also, if we can get to America, that'll be wicked. I'm like you know, we love it. I absolutely love it. You know, these cars are my passion. You know, I'm passionate about everything, but the Skylines, man, they're just the best thing ever.